What is going on today? So happy Tuesday, everybody. First things first, let's not forget that we got weigh-ins this week, okay? So come in anytime between now and Friday at 2 o'clock, because we're going to close a little earlier on Friday because Josh's wedding. So between today and Friday at 2, come get your in-body checked in, and that will be a payout for the $300 for this month, okay? So don't forget about that. And then secondly, I want to talk about how we can burn some fat, okay? So I think sometimes when you start understanding things a little better, you can apply them, and once you apply them, kind of see the fruits of your labor, right? So let's talk about burning fat, because that's kind of our goal for right now, right? Burn fat, feel better, look better, perform better. So at the top of the list, the most important thing, which I'm not going to dive into, is proper nutrition. That's why I have it up here to burn fat. So proper nutrition, all this falls under the umbrella of proper nutrition, because you cannot outwork a bad diet, right? We've heard that before. You cannot outwork a bad diet. And one of the reasons is 100% of the calories that you consume come through food, okay? So you're eating or drinking, hopefully just protein shakes, no other liquid nutrition that contains calories, but you're eating 100% of the calories that you take in, okay? But through exercise, you can only burn about 20% of those calories off, right? So you got 80% to kind of control through nutrition. So it is really important. So you cannot work a bad diet. 100% of the calories you consume, you can only burn about 20% off through exercise. So nutrition is king. So let's nail those habits in our journal, and we'll start losing fat that way. But what are some other things, activity-wise? What's the best activities that we can do to promote fat loss? Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom of the list and work our way to the top and tell you which one's the least effective, most effective, and why, okay? So one of the things you can do, or try to do, to lose body fat, and most people start here, is number 3 here, is you can do some cardio or aerobic training, okay? A lot of people start here because it's the easiest thing to do. You join a gym, you go into the gym, and there's some treadmills and ellipticals sitting around, and you jump on those guys for 30, 40 minutes, and you feel like you're working hard, and you feel like you're sweating, and you think you're burning a lot of calories, and you hope that you lose some weight, but typically you don't, okay? So here's a few reasons why you don't. So when we're doing this aerobic or cardiovascular training, such as walking around the neighborhood or getting on a recumbent bike or elliptical or treadmill for 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 minutes, okay, we are burning calories, okay? But during aerobic activity, you're only going to burn about 10 calories per minute. So it's not a significant amount of calories, first of all. So if you do a 30-minute session, you only burn about 300 calories, okay? Number 2, when you're doing an activity, you're not really activating muscle mass, okay, to the extent that you need to, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but you're not activating any muscle mass. So once you stop walking or stop doing elliptical, once you stop your aerobic activity, your calorie burn stops at that point. So if you burn 30 calories in 300 minutes, once you stop, the body returns to normal and you don't burn any more calories, okay? And the reason being is it doesn't affect your body's homeostasis. So we know the body loves homeostasis, right? Because we got a certain temperature that we usually stay at, and the body works to keep us normal per se. And that's the reason why when you eat less calories, the metabolism adapts, it slows down, okay? Because it wants to maintain homeostasis. But the aerobic training, okay, doesn't do anything for your metabolism. It doesn't throw your body out of homeostasis, and it doesn't create a calorie burn after you get through with it, okay? The only exceptions to number 3, if you're an ultra endurance athlete and you're doing like 3 to 5 to 6 hours of training per day, okay, at that point, then yeah, you're doing such long training periods, you know, like the Biggest Loser, but it's totally unrealistic. You can't maintain it, and once you go back to your real life, you're going to gain all the weight back. But if you're doing like 5-6 hours, like triathlon or something like that, I mean, you're burning a metric ton of calories, okay? So you're burning a lot of calories, and that could be an exception to the rule. But most of the time, this is totally ineffective for fat loss. Hear me out. It's not effective for fat loss. If you are losing fat and doing cardio, it's probably because your nutrition is on point. Now, for number 3, the cardiovascular benefits. Yeah, you do get some cardiovascular benefits. Like it's great for like joint health and bones. It's good for like heart health, get your heart rate up, and it's good just for movement, right? So if you are walking or doing cardio, you can keep doing cardio, but don't do it with the expectation of that you're going to actually lose body fat. It's probably unlikely, okay? Now, how can we do cardio and lose body fat? We can do cardio and lose body fat. That brings to mind number 2, the second best way activity to burn fat is interval training. Okay, so that would be our classes, so our team training sessions. And then what the interval training does, it is cardiovascular in nature. It's kind of anaerobic, but we won't get into all that. My video will be too long. I won't be able to upload it, blah, blah, blah. But with the interval training, what happens there is like our classes, we're going to work really, really hard for a short amount of time, for 30, 45 seconds, and we're going to jack our heart rate way up high, hopefully 85%. Like if you have a my zone, you should be working to 85%. And no, working to 90, 95% or working to 100% is not any better as far as interval effect. You're just going to work harder, and it'll take longer to recover, and you'll get less intervals in, so it's really no more effective. But when you work up to 85%, okay, that's your anaerobic threshold. Some things happen at that point to create fat loss, okay? Number one, it jacks up your heart rate, obviously. Number two, it jacks up your blood pressure, okay? Number three, it jacks up your fat-burning enzymes. Number four, it does disrupt your metabolism. So when you work up to 85%, really high intensity, it creates a ripple effect in your metabolism, and then after you get through with the exercise session, you're still burning calories. And the reason why your body's still burning calories is because you're in EPOC, which is excessive post-oxygen consumption, which is just like a scientific term, and it just means that your body is still has a elevated metabolism once you go through activity. And the reason why it's elevated is because you just threw everything out of homeostasis, so your body's trying to put itself back in homeostasis. And the further you throw it out, aka kind of like the harder you work within a sense, the further you're going to throw it out of homeostasis, and the more calories you're going to burn after the activity. And that's what we're going for here. Hey buddy, we're trying to burn calories after the activity. We're trying to burn calories 24/7 throughout the day to give us that additional effect as far as calorie burn and fat loss. So interval training is a great way to go. You'll burn calorie for calorie. You'll burn a lot more calories interval training, and you'll burn a lot more fat, okay, in the same amount of time. So we're going to talk about time here in a few minutes. So interval training is a great way to go. And if you're out walking in the neighborhood, you want to do some interval training, what I would suggest is walk and then take off in a fast jog or even a run, and just run until you get super out of breath, and then stop until you recover, and then run again. I know it's not very scientific, but most of the time when you get out of breath, you're about 85%, and that's your anaerobic threshold, and your body is producing, it's getting very acidic, and the body cannot buffer that acid out, okay, the hydrogen ions, it cannot buffer it out. You start breathing hard, and you're trying to blow that hydrogen ions out, and it interfere with muscle contractions, and that would be about 85%. I know it's like, I hate the trainers that say go till it burns or run till you're out of breath, because it's like, really? But if you don't have any other way, if you don't have that my zone to monitor your heart rate, if you want to do interval training, and you're out in the neighborhood walking or riding a bike or something like that, go really hard till you get super out of breath, recover until you get your breath back, and then do it again, do it again, and do it again. And that's going to really create that ripple effect in your metabolism, and it's going to help you shred some fat, baby. But by far the biggest bang for your buck, which is activity-wise for burning fat, is strength training, hands down. Total body strength training. That's what we do here at RXD, the best gym in Louisville, right? So strength training, what that does, so strength training, the way we do it, the total body activates every single muscle in your body, okay? And when we activate that muscle mass, okay, we're going to do a little bit of damage to it in the process, and our metabolism is going to be elevated for hours, up to a day or 2 days after that hard strength training session, because the body is working, okay? It's using that protein that you're supposed to be eating. It's using that protein and carbohydrates, and it's working to repair the damage that you did. And when the body is working to repair itself, just like an injury, it takes energy to repair itself. So those total body strength training is the best way to go. It creates that ripple effect on your metabolism, more so than interval training, and actually builds muscle. So when you do lose the fat, you'll be toned. So strength training, and it makes you feel confident. It makes you look good too. So strength training it's by far the best. And people are like, you don't get cardio in when you strength train. You can structure it very easily. If you know what you're doing, you can actually get a cardiovascular benefit from strength training if you know how to program it like we do here. So it's not a big deal. But so let's talk about this. So what should you do? Number one, you got to eat right. You're not going to outwork a bad diet. Just not possible. And who would want to, right? We want to be healthy during this process, because Scott says this a lot, like a healthy body has no problem losing fat. So we want to be healthy. We just don't want to eat like crap and then work out a lot and just try to be like a normal weight. And most of the people that do that, they eat really bad, they work out a lot, and they're kind of skinny fat. So they're like, oh, they look good, but they're like not toned or anything. So, but yeah, so Time-wise, so what should you do? Like, hey, man, I'm struggling. So if you got like a limited amount of time in a week, and some people do, hey, nothing wrong with that. What we suggest is do 2 total body strength training sessions a week, okay? So get that total body strength training. Squats, deadlift, bench press, all the stuff we do in here, 2 of those a week, and then jump in 2 classes and do 2 interval training sessions a week. That would be ideal. That puts you at 4 exercise sessions out of 7, so you're working out more than 50% of the week. That would be really a good idea. And if you had extra time, and then you could add in some aerobic training at the end. You know, like 2 strength, 2 interval training, and then 1 or 2 days of going for long walks, okay? That actually helps with recovery too. So if you're that's unlimited time. So let's go, if you only got like 1 to 3 hours a week, what do? You only can work out once or twice and maybe 3 times a week. Definitely, if you can only work out 1 to 3 times a week, do strength training, okay? That is the most effective, like I explained. That pulls everything up, okay? That improves everything else, so do strength training. If you got 3 to 5, add in an interval, just like I said, 3 to 5 hours, add in an interval. 2 and 2 would be 4 hours a week. And if you got more than that, add in some aerobic training. There's nothing wrong with aerobic training. It just doesn't, well, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't do what it's supposed to do, okay? It's an old fallacy from Kenneth Cooper back in the day, from aerobics and all this other stuff. It's just not effective. So if you got any questions about this, let me know. Get weighed in. And none of this works if you don't stay consistent, okay? You have to be consistent. You have to do this thing consistently. You have to hit your marks nutritionally. You have to strength train and interval train and do some cardio if you want. You got to do it on a consistent basis. And if you do that consistently, like remove the emotional part. Like if you do that consistently, like it's going to work, right? Like who do you know that eats really well and exercises on a consistent basis that doesn't look good and feel good, okay? Very few people. So remove the emotional part about all this stuff and look at it from a practical part. If you feed your body with healthy, high quality foods, and you do some strength training and some cardiovascular training, you're going to feel better, you're going to look better, you're going to lose fat, and you're going to be healthier, okay? So I hope that helps out. I don't think I really forgot anything. But yeah, jump on that strength training, do a little interval training, get in our classes, and throw in a little cardio if you want. Don't forget to weigh in. Even if you've been off track, I would say this, you still need to weigh in, because that's kind of our like accountability, right? Even if you've been off. If you've been off last month and you come in, weigh in, and you're up, this is your chance to get back on track. If you skip the 2-week check-in and skip this weigh-in, man, you're just going to kind of snowball down the hill, okay? And it'll be an avalanche effect, I'm telling you. So whether it's good or bad, still come, see us, get checked in. We understand it's hard. We're not going to guilt trip you in or anything like that, but we're going to offer some help and some guidance. So guys, I'll see you this week. Don't forget, closing early Friday, so come in before 2 o'clock and hit those weights, get that interval training in, and burn some fat. Yo, later.